There are many ways in which we can approach the subject of the Zionist attack on Syria. In my last lecture, I attempted to examine the validity of the view that a jihad is being waged in Syria. And I used the verses of the Quran to establish that you cannot wage a jihad with assistance from the enemies of Islam, with assistance from those from whom you are prohibited by the Quran from accepting assistance. I use Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 51, to point out that the Judeo-Christian alliance, which today is the Zionist Judeo-Christian alliance, which has NATO as its military arm, and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Libya and Turkey as able and willing and enthusiastic members of that supporting and that NATO alliance, clients of the Zionist Judeo-Christian alliance, are actively supporting and funding and training people who are going into Syria to wage that so-called jihad. You should not be angry with me. No, when I point out that this cannot be a valid jihad, when support is coming from these people, weapons are coming from these people, financing is coming from the US Congress, openly, from France, from Britain, openly. They're doing it openly. And if you accept that support and that help and those weapons and so on, you cannot be waging a valid jihad. Don't be angry with me, this is facts. These are facts that I'm mentioning. But then there are those who say we are not at all in any way connected with these Zionists, Saudi Zionists and Qatar Zionists and Libyan Zionists and Turkey's NATO ally, Turkey the NATO ally. We do not accept weapons from them. We do not accept money from them. We do not accept any help from them. Well, I want to suggest to you that a valid jihad cannot be waged alongside an invalid jihad being waged actually by the enemies of Islam. That's not possible. No thinking Muslim will attempt to wage a valid jihad alongside an invalid jihad. So a valid jihad cannot be waged alongside an invalid jihad. And when those who today are waging the so-called jihad in Syria with money from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and weapons and men from Libya and from Turkey and so on, when they gain the upper hand, and if, God forbid, they were to succeed and they were to bring down the regime of the Syrian regime, the first thing that they will do, my brothers, is to hunt you down. Those of you who are sincerely struggling to struggle in the way of Allah without in any way being associated with the enemies of Islam, you're going to be hunted down like rabbits, and they will ensure that you are either eliminated or driven out. So before that day should happen, you should understand from an eschatological viewpoint and a theological viewpoint that not only do you not wage a valid jihad alongside an invalid jihad, but secondly, there is no way that those who are the people of Gog and Magog will not overcome those who are opposed to them in the long run until Nabi Isa alayhi salam returns and they are destroyed. They will always have the upper hand because they are a people created by Allah with power so powerful that none but Allah can destroy them. This is Sahih Muslim. And so for your own sake, I urge you not to seek to wage any valid jihad alongside any invalid jihad anywhere on the face of the earth. And protect yourselves, for tomorrow they're going to come after you like rabbits.
Jihad has already begun. Oh yeah. the armed struggle for liberation from oppression and occupation in Iraq, in Afghanistan, is the jihad which has already commenced. We don't need any fatwa declaring jihad. This jihad cannot be stopped. No one can stop it. And this jihad will continue until the prophecy of Nabi Muhammad ﷺ is fulfilled. That the army will come out of Khorasan, it will be unstoppable until it reaches Jerusalem. When a jihad is in force, Muslims have an obligation to support the jihad. Those who can physically join the jihad should do so. However, it would be a security risk for someone who only speaks French to go to Afghanistan and join the jihad. Not only would he put his own life at risk, but he would put the lives of others at risk because of an incapacity to communicate. You have to be capable of communicating in the language spoken before you can join that jihad. But there are other ways of supporting the jihad. You can do it with your tongue. You can speak out. Of course, you're not going to get a US visa after that. You can support it with your wealth. You have so many ways that you can support the jihad. And when we call for a withdrawal to the remote countryside, that withdrawal is what is going to give us the freedom that we otherwise would not have, to either join the jihad or support the jihad.